And I'm joined now by Jovan Buha. He is the Lakers beat writer for The Athletic. Jovan, great to see you again. You know, NBA executives across the league are furious over this trade. Explain to everybody at home why exactly.
Well, they are furious because a 25-year-old generational superstar was made available quietly, basically only to the Lakers. And I think that the rest of the league is upset that they didn't have a shot to get in on the Luka sweepstakes. I think there's a chance that had it been an open, competition for acquiring Luka, that the price would have been a bit higher, and that even if it ended up being the Lakers, that they would have had to throw in a second first-round pick or a Dalton Connect or at least some pick swaps or something on top of what they ended up trading to Dallas. So I think everyone's just upset that they didn't have a chance at Luka, but for the Lakers, this continues just a 6 decades of landing generational superstars. And just when it looks like you're not quite sure what the next era of Lakers basketball is going to look like, they go and land another one. So we could go through West, Baylor, Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, AD, now Luka. Like, just the list of Lakers superstars is incredible. And this is the latest one now.
One NBA executive said that the Mavericks must hate Luka Doncic to do this. In other words, to get rid of a generational talent at 25 years of age. Why would they do that? Why were they so anxious to get rid of Luka Doncic?
Well, to be honest, I still don't get it. And I've heard the gripes from the Dallas side and sort of like they've been leaking now their concerns with Luka. And I think they tried to get out ahead of it because the reception to this trade has been nothing but backlash against Dallas. And remember, like when the trade happened, the initial response, including I was at Madison Square Garden with all the Lakers beat writers. We were the last people there in the press room. And we all thought that Shams got hacked. And that was a fake trade because we were like, there was no way the Lakers got Luka Doncic for that package. So I think from the Dallas side, they've been trying to get out ahead of it and set the narrative that the weight, the conditioning, the leadership, some of the stuff. But I look at like this guy just led them to the NBA Finals last season. This season, before he got injured around Christmas time, they were 4th in the Western Conference. He was putting up 28, 8-8, and basically putting up the numbers he's consistently put up throughout his career. So if there's any signs of slippage or concern, like it has not been reflected in the results with Luka Doncic. And this is a guy who many people around the league consider as the second or third best player in the league, maybe only behind Nikola Jokic. So it's like, this type of guy does not become available at this stage of their career. So I guess to get to the Dallas concerns, it's weight and conditioning. There was a report that he was pushing upwards of 270 pounds and that the conditioning has consistently been a thing. But again, looking at the results, I think they overthought this. I think they made a giant mistake to the Lakers' fortune. And I think this is going to work out for the Lakers longer term. But from the Dallas side, like, just from a return perspective, the fact that they couldn't get 2 first-round picks from the Lakers, the fact that they couldn't get a couple of pick swaps or again, like a Dalton Connect, like it just felt like even if they were dead set on getting Anthony Davis and they felt like that was the best move for them, they still should have got more of a return from LA. And the fact that they didn't, I think really is a mistake on Dallas's part. But again, it's fortunate for the Lakers.
So summarizing a lot of that, it sounds like what you're saying is all of those concerns, potentially the weight and the conditioning and all that, and having to pay a max contract next year, that those are concerns the Lakers should not necessarily have with Luka Doncic.
No, because again, it has not been reflected in a results perspective. Like this guy just led a team to the finals. He's led a team to the conference finals. He's been first team All-NBA 5 years in a row. Like from a statistical perspective, through his first 7 years of his career, he is on the trajectory of a first ballot Hall of Famer. Really, the last player we've seen hit these statistical markers was LeBron James. And like that's a very high bar. So already, just for some context here, in the regular season, Luka Doncic's points per game average is the 3rd highest of all time behind Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. In the playoffs, his points per game average, second all time behind Michael Jordan. Like, just think about the rare air that he is in there with Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. Like, every other player, you could go through Kobe, LeBron, just go down the list. Like, he is ahead of those guys in just scoring, to say nothing of his passing and just how dominant his teams have been offensively. So again, I get, like, Dallas had an up close look, and I'm not going to dismiss some of these concerns, but it does feel like a short-sighted move on their part. And again, even if you felt like you had to trade him, it's indisputable that they could have gotten more for him if they had an open bidding process. And the fact that it just feels like they sold low on him and got like 40 to 50% of what they truly could have gotten.
Luka Doncic grew up in Slovenia idolizing LeBron James. He's talked about that, how excited he was to play against LeBron James. LeBron James has said nothing but great things about Luka Doncic. So now, as teammates, how do you see these two fitting together?
It's going to be very interesting because these are two guys who have always had the ball in their hands. And whenever they've been paired with stars, they've clearly been the best player. And the stars around them have had to make the bigger adjustments. So going back with LeBron in Miami, Dwayne Wade had to make more of the adjustments. In Cleveland, it was Kyrie Irving. And even in LA, it was more so Anthony Davis. With Luka in Dallas, Kyrie was the one who came in and had to adjust to Luka's game. So this is going to be the first time that these two guys can, it's almost like that Spider-Man meme where they can look at each other and say, like, I can do what you can do and you can do what I can do. And you got to kind of figure out so I do think with Luka being 25, not even in his prime yet, LeBron will probably take a little bit more of a step back. Like, there's been reporting through the years that LeBron has wanted to pass the torch and hand it over to the next star. And originally that was supposed to be Anthony Davis, but I don't think from a shot creation perspective, he was quite at that level. Certainly not at the level that Luka's at. So I do think it's going to be more Luka on the ball, being the point guard, running the offense, more LeBron off the ball. And I look at the actual the 2024 Olympics as the blueprint for this, where LeBron played more off the ball basically than he ever has in his career. And it was a lot of pick and roll with Steph Curry. And then LeBron as the roller, Steph finding him. And then LeBron almost kind of being that Draymond role of when you have a 4-on-3 advantage, you can get downhill. And with LeBron, you can get to the rim, dunk on people, draw fouls, whatever, or you can kick out the shooter. So I think that, like, just figuring out that two-man game between Luka and LeBron is going to be fascinating, but it's certainly going to require some level of sacrifice on both of their parts. And I think there's going to be a learning curve for sure, because they've never played with another player quite as smart and talented as the other one. Like, they again, I go back to the Spider-Man, like, they both can make certain passes that the rest of the league can't make. They have a certain level of size with their playmaking that a lot of other playmakers or ball handlers are smaller. So, like, they can do certain things that really only the other one can do. Luka has modeled his game after LeBron in many ways. And I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they find that balance there with allowing each one to kind of do what they want to do while also acquiescing to the other star.
All right, let's put a bow on this package. Never in the history of the NBA has two all-NBA players been traded for each other mid-season. When we look back at this trade one day, how will it rank in the history of the NBA?
I think it's going to rank as the most shocking trade of all time. I at least in the modern era, which we can loosely say is about like 1980 and beyond. I think going back, you could look at Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem maybe getting traded, but post 1980, I think this is the most shocking trade of all time. Players on the trajectory that Luka Doncic is currently on do not get traded during their second contract. It's often they force their way out, or they get traded on their third contract. So we have never seen someone really in Luka's position get traded like this and really get bet against by their former franchise. But I think we're going to look at this trade as a monumental trade that 10 to 15 years from now is likely to have led to at least a couple of championships for the Lakers when either with Luka and LeBron or they get the second star once LeBron retires. And I think this is going to set the Lakers up incredibly well for the next 10 to 15 years. And we're going to look back at this past weekend as what led to all of that. So I think it's going to be a sliding doors moment in NBA history and one of the more impactful NBA trades of the post-millennium.
Jovan, I know you're a very sought after guy these days, so I appreciate you taking the time with us today.
Appreciate it, Kyle.